Hello, my name is Ryan Flahive, and I'm the Executive Editor for Environmental Science at Wiley, and I'm here today to give you a tour of the new Wiley Plus Learning Space course that we've built to support Raven's Environment Ninth Edition, and I'm going to talk about a lot of the key capabilities that makes this a very powerful platform, and I'm also going to introduce you to a couple of new assets we've created specifically for this edition. The interactive graphs, graph-based assignments, and new BBC and CBS videos that support every chapter. So here I am logged in as a student to the Raven course, and I'll show you how this initial dashboard works. It does two things. It helps me as a student, and I'm logged in as a student right now, see how I'm doing. And it also allows me to access various parts of the platform. I can, at any time in the platform, whether I'm on a mobile device or in my browser, use this drop-down menu to get anywhere that I need to go. Also, from the dashboard, I'm able to access my study materials using the buttons in this top left tile. The upper right-hand tile, I can see what's coming that's due and how I've done so far on my assignments. I get an introduction to the latest postings in the course stream here on the lower right, and then down below on the lower left, I get a couple tiles that show me how I'm doing in terms of my participation, the amount of time spent on task, how many questions I've attempted, and how I've done on those questions. But I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the ebook using the study button. So I'm now logged into the e-textbook for Raven, and as I scroll through and I'm interacting with content, if I decide there's something important that I want to put into my notes, I can highlight it, or I can highlight it and add a note saying something like, read this later. And with these interactions, I've created a personalized study guide called My Notes that I'll show you in just a second. I'm also able to go in and highlight something and start a conversation. So this is a way that I'm able to start a public conversation with my peers. So and you'll see here that my comments have now posted to the right side of the course stream. Another thing I want to show you, and this is unique to this edition of Raven, as you see here, we're using a lot of different graphs in the ebook, and the authors have created now interactive graphing. So you're able to play with the different variables. And this is a way to get students to see the math behind environmental science without having to be overly intimidated by that math. And if this is a graph that I want to revisit later or any other piece of rich media that I want to see in my notes, I just click this little star and it goes directly into my notes. And that's where I'll take you right now. So again, my notes is a personalized study guide that students create as they go through the Wiley content and they decide what's important and what they want to revisit the night before the test. So you'll see here I actually brought that interactive graph that I was talking about earlier, and then some comments from the book as well as some other artwork from the book. So I'm back in the student ebook, and there's one last asset that I want to show you here. Just below this illustration, we have some of our curated BBC, CBS videos, super high quality content that helps students visualize some of the processes and concepts that they've learned reading through the textbook.
And a few collect liquid from insects in much the same way as we do.
So now I'm logged in as an instructor, and just like the student dashboard that you saw earlier, I'm given a variety of different metrics, although in this case, rather than being for one unique student, it's for the entire course section in aggregate. I also can navigate to wherever I need to go, either using the drop-down menu here or any of the buttons provided in these quadrants. I'm going to click on Study, go into section 5.2, and I'm going to go back to the graph, the interactive graph that I showed you earlier, and I have access to all the same contents the students do. Key difference being, however, that I have this little blue box. And whenever I click on that box, I can create an assignment or a compound assignment, and I'm going to assign this graph to all of my students, give them a week to look at it, and I'm going to let them know. I will call on somebody randomly on Monday to start a conversation. So you're able to structure the way students spend their time outside of class so they come to class prepared to discuss the content, in this case specifically around the interactive graphing activity that you've now assigned as soon as I click the Assign button. I'll also point out that along with the assignments that I've created, as an instructor, I have this tab here that brings me to all of the presentation and assessment resources that are also created to support this chapter. So while there certainly is a lot more to show you in the Wiley Plus Learning Space course that supports Raven's Environment 9th Edition, hopefully through this brief tour you're able to see the interactive ebook, the ability for students to create My Notes and create meaningful class discussion right within the platform, as well as the new interactive graphs that we've built, assignments built around those graphs, and the new videos that we've added from the BBC and CBS and curated specifically for every chapter.